Hey designers, today we're going to quickly and easily create a cartoon animation in After Effects. Let's jump right into it. First, here are the images we'll be working with: flat images of the ground, sky, front side of the building, back side, and one of the sides. These are the exact pictures I'll provide for you to practice with as well. Let's get started by opening After Effects. The first thing we'll do is import the images of the building, the front, back, and side views. After importing, drag and drop these onto the timeline. You can view each layer individually by soloing them. Here's the front, here's the back, and here's the side. We need to duplicate the side layer. Select it, and press Ctrl+D on your keyboard to duplicate. Let's rename one of the side layers right and the other left. Solo the right side layer so that only it is visible. Select the anchor point tool, and with the help of the Shift key, move the anchor point all the way to the right side of the layer. Next, let's solo the left side layer and adjust its anchor point. Move it all the way to the left, just like we did for the right side. Now let's make all of these layers 3D. Once you've done that, change the view from Active Camera to Camera View 1. Let's start adjusting the placement of the layers. Select the right layer and press R to bring up the rotation properties. Change the Y rotation to 90 degrees. Next, select the left layer, press R, and change the Y rotation to -90 degrees. For the back layer, you can adjust its position using the arrows on the screen, or you can press P to bring up the position properties. Adjust the Z value to move it to the back. Zoom in to make sure the placement is perfect, without any gaps. Once everything looks good, switch back to the active camera view. Next, we'll import the ground layer. Drag and drop the ground image onto the timeline. Make the ground layer 3D as well. Now, press R for rotation and change the X rotation to 90 degrees. Press P to adjust the position, and first change the Z value, then the Y value, to place it properly. After positioning the ground, hold Shift and scale it up to fit the scene. Finally, let's rename the layer to ground so we can easily identify it later. Now, select all the layers that make up the building and pre-compose them into one layer. After you've done that, return to Composition 1. We need to rasterize this new pre-composed layer, so click the rasterize icon and make it 3D. Next, go to the ground layer's properties. We want to move the ground back, so adjust the Y rotation and tweak the Z rotation again to get it in the right position. After that, scale it up a bit more if needed, depending on where you want the ground level to be. When the adjustments are done, close the properties. Now, right-click in the timeline, go to New, and create a new camera layer. Using the camera tools, we'll adjust the camera's position, rotation, and orientation. Rotate the view to frame the scene the way you want. If the ground needs adjustment, make sure it doesn't overlap the top of the building. Move the ground down slightly if necessary, and adjust its position until it sits properly. Once you're satisfied with the placement, close the ground layer's properties. Next, we'll duplicate the pre-composed building layer by pressing Ctrl+D on your keyboard. Duplicate it 3 more times. Now, move each building into position by adjusting its X position. If dragging them with the mouse feels tricky, select the building layer, press P to bring up the position properties, and manually adjust the X value. Remember, the first value controls the X position, left and right, the second is the Y position, up and down, and the third is the Z position, front and back. Now, take your time to adjust the positions of the buildings. Once you're satisfied with how they are placed, let's move on to importing the sky layer. Drag and drop the sky image onto the timeline, placing it below all the other layers. Next, select the camera layer, right-click on it, go to Camera, and choose Create Orbit Null. This will allow us to animate the camera. To start the animation, press P for position, then hold Shift and press S for scale, and Shift+R for rotation. Click on the stopwatch next to position and scale to create keyframes. Move the playhead to the last frame and add blank keyframes. Then, go back to the first frame. First, zoom in by adjusting the scale, and then move the position slightly upwards. Once you've done that, preview the animation to see how it looks. If you want to add some rotation, change the Y rotation value slightly. Click the stopwatch next to Y rotation. And then move to the second frame and set the Y rotation value back to 0. For the final touch, let's create an adjustment layer. Right-click in the timeline, choose New, and select Adjustment Layer. Go to Effects and Presets, search for CC Rainfall, and apply it to the adjustment layer. You can also adjust the wind value in the CC Rainfall effect to get the desired look. Once you've done that, your animation is complete. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to Ace Designs.